how nature likes to arrange itself in patterns in order to act efficiently. Nothing in nature happens without any reasons or functions. All over these patterns have important role to do in nature, and it happens to be beautiful to watch. In general sense of the word, patterns are regular, repeated, and recurring forms or designs that you can see all over the place. Studying in patterns helps us in identifying relationships, finding logical connections to form any generalizations, and also in making predictions. According to Ian Stewart, we live in a universe of patterns, and mathematics is also a study of patterns. And these are the following patterns that have been discovered with the aid of mathematics.
Type of pattern is symmetry. Symmetry comes from a Greek word meaning to measure together. It means that one shape becomes exactly like another shape when it moves in some way. It could be turned, flip, or slide. Translation symmetry is when something has undergone a movement, a shift, or a slide in a specified distance without any rotation or reflection. Example of this is the leaves. The leaves has undergone a movement, does not have any rotation or reflection. Reflection symmetry is also known as bilateral symmetry. It is the mirror effect, or when object is reflected or flipped across a plate to create an image of itself. Example is a motorcycle face. Motorcycle face is an example of reflection symmetry because it has the same size and shape. Radial symmetry is also known as rotation symmetry. It is when one object is rotated at a certain direction at the center of a point. Example is the motorcycle wheel and the flower. The motorcycle wheel and the flower has a rotation at a certain direction.
And the next pattern is spiral pattern. So, what is a spiral pattern? Spiral pattern is a circular pattern that begins in a center point and spirals outward. Spirals can be found in nature, art, and mathematics. So actually, you can find or spiral pattern can be seen anywhere in the world. Maybe in art, maybe it's a man-made or it's a natural representation of it. So for the natural representation, for example, that is a twig circles out or twirling because of the natural occurrence. Or for example, another example that is a vine circling the twig or the branch of the tree. But the example that we have here is a man-made representation of the spiral pattern, which is based on what is on the screen right now. The spiral pattern that we have is a flower pattern. Actually, it is a flower from the video or the picture has been caught on February 14th, Valentine's Day. So this is the example of spiral pattern that we have. Alright, so the next pattern is Fibonacci sequence pattern. So it is a series of numbers which each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers, like 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, and so on. So this sequence has several unique properties and appears in various aspects of nature, art, mathematics. And here are some interesting facts about the Fibonacci sequence. So as you can see, Fibonacci sequence is already part in this world. You can see it in plants, like they have 3 petals, 5, and 8 petals. You can see that is part of the Fibonacci sequence. And base of the example that we have here, we have a snail. Actually, this is a real life or nature representation of the Fibonacci sequence. And also we have the flowers, petals of flowers, as you can see in the screen. So since the petals is number 5 and the seashells, as you can see, this is 2. And also the pattern at the back of the shell or the shell itself. So that is nature representation of the Fibonacci sequence. And also we have the game Genshin Impact, which is this represents the inside of the shell. So as you can see, there's a swirling, or we have the golden ratio or the swirling pattern on the inside. So above my characters, you can see those patterns.
The next pattern is meanders. A river meanders is a curve in a river that forms a snake-like pattern. Meanders are caused by erosion and deposition of sediments along the river's banks.
Stripes are made by series of bands or stripes, often of the same width and color along the length. The snake plant stripe pattern is not only beautiful, but also serves as a defense function, allowing the plant to be better blend into its natural environment. In shirts, stripes are created by weaving two different yarns, often with constructing color, most commonly white and one other color. The white yarn would be considered as the background color, and the colored yarn as the stripe, which is the color black. Some frequently asked question I've heard about snake plants is that, do all snake plants have stripes? So the answer for that is, some varieties may be variegated leaves or stripes, while others may be more solid in color. Another important factor to consider is how much light each variety needs.
The next pattern is foams or bubbles. A foam is a substance which is made by trapping air or gas bubbles inside solids or liquids. For example, a detergent powder can produce bubbles by mixing it with warm water, and by stirring it thoroughly, the bubbles will soon be formed. Another example is sponge. A sponge is a perfect example of a foam which is formed by trapping air gases in a solid matter. Another patterns of nature is tessellation. Tessellation is a tiling that uses different shapes to cover a surface with no gaps or overlaps. For example, the dahlias has a design of tessellation pattern because the design has no gaps and thus it is not overlapping with each other. Another example for tessellation is the decorative floor tiles, where the design shows that it doesn't leave no gaps and it doesn't overlap with each other. So it is a perfect example for the tessellation pattern.
Next is fracture. So this is an example of fracture, which concrete structure with visible cracks, crumbling edges, and broken pieces indicating significant damage and weakening over time.
Is there any questions in your mind about fractal patterns? I guess you have this question in your mind. What if the intricate pattern of fractals held the secret to understanding the very fabric of the universe, and their code could reveal the hidden blueprint of existence? Let's answer that question. Let's talk about fractals. Fractal pattern in tree branches refer to the repeating, self-similar patterns found in branching structure of trees. This means that the pattern of branching is repeated at different scales, from the smallest twigs to the largest leaf. Here are the some characteristics of fractal patterns in tree branches. The first one is self-similarity. Branches split into smaller branches, which split into even smaller ones, repeating the pattern. And the second one is scaling. The pattern is repeated at different scales, from small to large. And the third one is branching angles. The angles at which branches split are consistent, creating a repeating fractal pattern. And the next one is, here are the several purposes of the fractal patterns in tree branches. The first one purpose is efficient use of space. Fractal allow trees to maximize their exposure to sunlight and space. And the second one is strong structure. Fractal patterns provide strength and stability to the tree's branching system. And the third one, purposes, is water and nutrient distribution. Fractal helps distribute water and nutrients efficiently throughout the tree. The fractal pattern in tree branches are a great example and a remarkable example of nature's efficient and beautiful design. Empowering reminder. Embracing the beauty of fractal pattern can transform your perspective, ignite your curiosity, and also it unleash your creativity. As you delve into the intricate patterns and self-similarities of fractal patterns, remember that you too have the power to create, adapt, and evolve just like fractal patterns that inspires you.
Affine transformation. It is a linear mapping method that preserves points, straight lines, and planes. The process involved in affine transformation are rotation, reflection, and scaling. So for example, we do have a plant, which is actually you can see it everywhere, maybe not here in the Philippines, but someplace in the world. So, for example, of that is broccoli and some kind of cauliflower, I think. So yeah, that is cauliflower. And for the example that we're giving right now is the from the family of ferns. So this example right here in my background is example of affine transformation, which is, as you can see, from the leaves or from the overall figure of it, there's a spiky things, and from that leaf, which is kind of bit of form of spines, you can see those details that may look like in its feet. So right, so that's the example of affine transformation.
The next pattern is wave. A wave pattern in nature is a repeating or irregular patterns or motion that occurs in water, air, sound, sand, and other materials. Examples of wave patterns in nature. First, the ripples in sand. Wind or water can create ripples in sand. Second is the wind waves. Wind blowing over the water creates waves. The third one is cloud formations. Wind can create wave patterns in clouds.
In conclusion, patterns are everywhere in nature, and with technology, patterns are created without any difficulty. Nature's patterns are not just there to be appreciated, they are important hint and authority that administers any progression, and with mathematics, great things have been determined. Mathematics is everywhere in nature, organizing the underlying patterns, how nature will behave, and to appreciate practical use of our learnings about the nature and the world.